Hey, it's Kyle here from Federal Prison Tips with my friend Chrissy Amador, the founder of the Loved Ones Coalition. How you doing today, Chrissy?
Hey, Kyle. How are you?
Good, good. So you are here in Florida for our big birthday weekend for me, but you made a pit stop in Washington, D.C., a scheduled pit stop. Well, it was scheduled real fast. And who did you meet with?
That's right. So happy birthday. We were scheduled for a pit stop in Washington, D.C., and I met the Deputy Director, Josh Smith. He had invited me in for a meet and greet interview type thing in Washington, D.C.
And Josh Smith became the deputy director a little over 100 days ago. There was a video that they put out on BOP.gov of his first 100 days in office as the deputy. And so what kind of things did you talk about?
So when I went into Josh Smith's office, he gave me the opportunity to voice my concerns. Instead of, going over every single concern in every facility, we took the top 5 systemic issues, which are the conditions of the facilities, retaliation issues, the administrative remedy process, medical, and then, of course, the FSA and the SCA programming, lack of education on that for case managers, and then general insubordination on that.
And I wanted to talk to you about that for a minute. When you were speaking with Josh, did that come up? Because at Federal Prison Tips, we, having such a big voice in the federal prison space, we hear a lot of insubordination at the institution level in regards to the latest directives from Director William Marshall III and Deputy Director Smith, and then Assistant to the Director Rick Stover. It seems, we have a track here at Federal Prison Tips. We know about 42 of the institutions, and there's 121 of them, but 42 of them are doing it right, and the rest, about 80 or so, are not doing it right. What did Josh have to say about just this blatant disregard for what staff members are supposed to be doing as far as FSA and SCA?
So there were 2 things that he had told me regarding the programming. One, he admitted to lack of education. He stated that nobody's been getting trained over the last couple of years. It just simply wasn't in the budget. So he did say that some of that is lack of understanding and lack of education, and that, he does have a remedy for that. They have more money coming in this year, and that they're going to be doing more training. Everybody's getting trained. People have not been trained these last couple of years due to budgeting. But regarding the general insubordination, he said report it, and he'll investigate, and we'll lock him up.
There's a training issue.
Not lock him up, fire.
There's a training issue with the First Step Act that they don't touch on a lot. And I can tell you from experience, because I was in federal prison at this time, and so was your original loved one. Mm-hmm. But the FSA was passed and signed into law on December 21st, 2018. We are coming up on the 7th anniversary of the FSA. The problem is, as they were making the way to start implementing it, as they developed the pattern tool, as they started developing the calculations, the date calculator, which Josh Smith acknowledged in that video has never worked. They were supposed to do training at the training center in Colorado, but then COVID happened and they couldn't, and it just fell by the wayside. So now, 7 years later, there's still thousands of inmates in federal prison past the FSA conditional date. Did he say anything about stacking or how the inmates are supposed to go home on FSA and SCA?
So, as you know, I'm not an expert on FSA and SCA. He did ask me who was advising me on insubordination versus education. And Kyle, you're the expert on that. You're my go-to guy.
Did you tell him that Kyle from Federal Prison Tips is the one?
I absolutely did. Yes, I let him know. My loved one did not qualify for programming. He had a removal order his whole time incarcerated, so FSA was not something I knew. However, I knew when the directive came out, I knew the insubordinations in the comments as, F. Billy Marshall, I'm not working for a convict, stuff like that.
Did you guys get to talk about that? Did you guys get to talk about the attitude of staff towards Josh Smith? Because this is the thing about Josh that a lot of people don't understand. He got out of people have this narrative like he got out of prison like last year and became the deputy director, and that's just not the case. I think if my memory serves me right, he's been out of prison going on 20 years,
Right.
and for the last at least 10 through his nonprofit. He has a nonprofit.
That's right.
I think it's called the Fourth Column, and they consult where we're prison consultants. They consult prisons to make them more in tune with their goals of reducing recidivism and rehabilitation. He's been around the world to look at prisons. He's been
38 facilities, 38 different countries.
38 different around the world,
around the world,
to see how prison operates, and this. People, we don't talk about this much, and not a lot of people seem to want to give credit to it. I spoke to BOP last year about a possible position, and for anything for me to do with the BOP would be a drastic pay cut. And it's the same with Josh. Josh Smith was running a multi-million-dollar service business in addition to this nonprofit that's been helping prisons across the country and across the world. And I mean, I haven't spoken to him personally about this particular issue, but from what I've gathered online in my research, he took a substantial pay cut to take this job at the BOP.
That's right. So he told me that he, I believe, rejected the position a couple times. He did not need the money. He did not feel comfortable coming in during the past administration. However, he knew that prison reforms needed. And he is one of those that was incarcerated. He opened up, like you said, a nonprofit. He's into prison reform. So he decided to do it for the better good. He is having a hard time. There's a culture there that it's kind of them versus us, the inmates versus the staff.
The thing about the culture and about Josh Smith, though, is what people fail to understand is if the BOP, if the federal prison system stuck to their mission and did what they were supposed to do, which is rehabilitate, reduce recidivism, and protect the public and protect the inmates and keep them safe, if the BOP reached these 4 or 5 different goals that are in their core values, then there should be no qualms about Josh.
He should be rehabilitated, exactly.
He's rehabilitated.
They should be comfortable with their mission statement, exactly.
It should be a testament. Josh Smith working as the deputy director of the BOP should be a testament to the BOP.
I definitely agree with that statement. For me, I can understand. I'm very much fuck the feds, and while he was incarcerated, I was still saying, well, he's a fed now. But actually meeting him, he's still a fed.
Did he feel like a fed or an inmate?
An inmate.
He did.
He did. I felt like I was chopping it up with an inmate.
Take us there. So you get to DC now. I know that you went with D, who works here for us at Federal Prison Tips.
He's also the board of directors for Loved Ones Coalition.
D at federalprisontipsTips.com. He's on the board. Also, Aaron Peel is on the board.
That's right.
I'm on the board.
Tia Rigby's also a board of advisors.
Tia Rigby.
Yep.
And so, so you and D and Tia are in DC.
That's right.
At their hoopty office, because they're going through a major renovation. So when you go to the BOP right now, it looks like a bando.
It does. That's what I said. Yeah.
I mean, they'll tell you that too. So,
they will. They'll send you a picture so you know
where
to go.
You go to the BOP, you go through the metal detector, you do all the shit, and you go upstairs. But then they make D and T what?
Yes, they did separate me from my crew.
Right, and so you go in there. But Josh had a crew, right?
He did. So it was Josh Smith, and then there was 2 advisors or support workers over on one side and then 2 next to me. It was about a 45-minute meeting. I tried to sit at the other end of the table.
Josh was like, nope, sit right next to me, girl.
Yep, that's right. And so then I moved up 1 seat, and then he was like...
Was he nice?
He was really nice.
Like, could you kick it with him? Like, is he that kind of...
Well, I was taking off my A game a little bit. I had prepped for a meeting with my team, so my guard was a little bit up. I felt like they had separated me from my team for on purpose or whatever, because I didn't understand why he would invite me in. You know what I do? I do watchdogging and exposing.
What did he say? Did he say anything about the quality of the reports? Because I want to talk about that for a second. Did he say anything about the quality of the reports?
He did. He said that my reports are really good, that they show good data. He did say that he notices that I do a lot of anonymous people. I do a lot of anonymizing of my sources in there.
And you have to. You have to protect them from retaliation.
Absolutely.
That's one of the number one issues here we have with the BOP.
And that was always my thing. However, we do individualized advocacy for a couple people who have had us give out their names and stuff. And during that time, Josh confirmed that he was the one that had made those moves and did those remedies for me and got those people's taken care of. These were life or death situations, so these inmates were extremely desperate. So I had reached out to the support coordinator, and for example, within hours, these issues were rectified. So he wanted to show that I can trust him going forward. He said, I did this for you.
Do you feel you can?
You know,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to definitely have to talk with my board advisors about all that.
Well, he's doing things, though, because, I mean, like...
Right, and everyone knows retaliation is a risk. These people, before I knew that Josh Smith was the oversight on these cases, they knew when I reported their name, what in their situation, what could happen, but they still risked it. You know what I'm saying? The inmates.
So let's, you've told me about those couple things, those few things that Josh has definitely overseen and taken care of. And these are, listen, we're not talking about the guards are mean to my loved one.
No.
This is your loved one. I was in federal prison for nearly 7 years. That's not a long time for some. It's a very long time for others. There's prison, and then there's real shit, which is what you guys do. But I wanted to talk for a second about, there was a emergency medical situation at Hazleton.
That's right.
With a inmate who had a cardiac event.
That's right.
And went to the hospital. The inmate's family could not reach him. The inmate's family had no idea where he was. And it's my understanding that through this connection with Josh, they were able to facilitate a staff member going to the hospital and making sure that inmate called his family.
That's right. That did happen.
And
while they do not, we don't have ROIs for these people. So when we report it, they just let us know it's received. So we don't know what's going to happen until we get the reports from the family saying, I just talked to my husband in the hospital off the warden's phone.
And that's what happened. The loved one called you back and said, hey, Chrissy, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
They actually called Tia. That was Tia's advocacy. I want to shout out Tia.
So
did that.
You have to, I can't even imagine what that would feel like to know the despair, because, I have a ton of serious medical issues. I was hospitalized a bunch while I was in federal prison. 2, 3, 4 day hospital stays. When I'm a little bit more, I don't know, in tune with what's going on around me. So I knew when I got in the van to go to the hospital that they weren't going to call my family, that nobody was going to know where I was, that it's going to show that I'm still in the prison, but I'm not calling people like I'm supposed to. I relied on my friends to call my family and say, hey, I'm off the yard for this reason. But it causes a tremendous amount of anxiety for the person on the street.
For sure.
And that person on the street, reaching out to you's got to feel some type of way. When they say, hey, thank you so much, I at least know that my loved one is alive.
That's right. So little step, that's a huge step for that family member, for sure. It should be what's done, though, respectfully.
I think that, one of the things that, one of the reasons that I'm extreme, I think that my audience at Federal Prison Tips and the people that watch us, and it's a lot, they know that I'm very, very pro Josh Smith.
That's right.
And one of the reasons is because, he knows when you talk to him about what that inmate's family feels like, his family felt that.
He knew. He related. He was able to talk about his wife's incarceration with me and how she had raised 4 kids during his incarceration, and they've been married 29 years. And he had understood because sometimes I get a little cursy and cussy, and he said he can look past all that because he understands. I'm a prison wife. I was a prison wife, and what goes through during that, during those times and stuff, and the fear and everything, and retaliation, just everything. He understands. He definitely understands.
So. What did he tell you were the steps that he is going to take with the Bureau to have corrective action and make some headway on these issues?
Yeah, so I am able to talk about a couple of things. Some things are going to be rolling out literally within the next couple of weeks. Kyle did confirm this, and he's going to roll that out as well. So the first one was the conditions, and he had said that there's $4 billion needed to fix the structure, the maintenance and everything. However, they've only been received $2 billion, and I think this is a higher year. Am I right?
It is. Yeah. It is a higher year.
So his plan for that is, let's get these inmates unicorn jobs. Get them good pay. Let's get them training that they can use, and let's get them better conditions. So they're going to be making unicorn jobs and training them for, I'm sure, maintenance, HVAC, things like that, electrical, and they're going to actually have the programs. I said, you have CDL and you have these trucks, parked at places, but no one's doing it. And he explained, that's a little different. This is stuff that they already have people that can train them for in these facilities.
And so, they just talked about how they're going to hire 587 correctional officers. Did he touch on that when he was with you?
That's right. So that is when we went into talking about him he will let somebody go. As far as if he can prove insubordination, retaliation, he wants the toxicity out, is what he said. And he's hoping to replace them with better trained staff, new staff.
And that's the problem. I say it, I say it sometimes street, sometimes from the view of an inmate. Until now, a correction. One of the reasons, what do I want to say? A lot of people out here in our community don't understand, as a business owner, right? We're at my business right now. We got 14 people that work here. If some of the people that worked under me were as insubordinate as the people are that work in the BOP, I'd have no qualms about putting them out on the street. They're fired. Sure. That's done. What people don't seem to understand about the Bureau is that they're having such a problem with recruitment and such a problem with filling these vacancies that they're almost untouchable. And I've made the comment
that as well, that he was having a hard time with hiring due to it being, I believe he said, the worst. Ranked.
It is the worst. And that is, it's not obviously not something they're proud of, but for 3 or 4 years in a row, the BOP has been ranked the worst government agency to work for out of 434 government agencies.
He did tell me that, and he did say it was hard to get quality staff when, look at the conditions, look at suicide rates, trauma, they get yelled at all day, what they go through. Who would want to do that for low pay is what he was saying.
And you got to look at it like this. TSA is another government agency, right?
Yeah.
And right now, the TSA people got a $10,000 bonus for working through the government shutdown just now. And they're going to get their paychecks. So, and what does TSA have to deal with? They have to deal with a bunch of Karens that are pissed off because their plane's running late.
Right.
These guys that work for the Bureau, they run the risk of getting killed every single day that they go to work.
That's right.
You don't have to worry about getting killed at the airport typically, but you do have that real worry going to a federal prison, especially a USP or FCI medium, every single day that you might get cut or there might be a riot. These things happen. And when you couple that with the fact that there's extra hours, mandated overtime, where people don't even have a choice.
They don't get recognition like maybe a police officer would. They don't get thank you for your service typically.
Right.
During the day at work.
It's a thankless job.
Thankless job, yes.
And so, that's the problem with recruitment. And with the problem with the recruitment comes the fact that because they can't backfill the positions, people can get away with a lot of shit that work for the BOP.
That's right.
And you're exposing it. So let's talk about the reports. I don't know if people know what you guys do on a weekly basis like clockwork.
That's right.
Every single week, the Loved Ones Coalition publishes a report that's typically between 50 and 100 pages detailing the conditions, the retaliation, the treatment of inmates in federal prisons across the country. And it's not just, I'm going to always go back to this when we're talking about loved ones. It's not just like Johnny Guard was mean to my loved one. It is real like I've seen, there was a video you guys ran last week that showed water pouring out of the freaking ceiling, and
that ceiling has also looked like that since 2019.
And this is a federal prison.
It's on top of people's heads
in the United States of America. So when I was at Forest City Low, it rained in the bathroom.
It's raining in this facility. They have 7 mop buckets filled with ceiling water. It's in the bunk. In the dorm, the guy sits up in the video. You can see the water comes down, and he lays right back down. It's heartbreaking to watch.
And this is in America. So what did Josh say about that kind of stuff?
His rebuttal for that was, again, the money that they didn't have before. He simply said they didn't have the money to fix these things before, is what he had said to me. And then the plan for that was the inmates doing the programming and the work jobs. In his video, it almost seems like he did a video almost in response to your meeting. That's right.
He had a 7-minute video came out the day after he met with you, touching on you, and it's funny because you called me immediately after leaving the meeting. And
I called you when I was in there too. I was texting you when I was in. I called you before and right when I got out.
You're calling me right at leaving the office and telling me, me and Josh talked about this, and this. And then the next day is a video from Josh talking about the same 5 exact points.
We went live that night too and talked to let our group members know the same thing we talked about. We also did like a post.
And we'll be posting this on Federal Prison Tips website and our YouTube channel and cut it up into videos. But in that video that Josh did, he talked about misallocation of funds for FSA programming. Did he say anything about that to you?
That's not something we did speak on, honestly, yeah. I did let him know that Kyle Sandler is my FSA expert. The only thing I can confirm was the insubordination, and that's from when the memo had first came out. Everyone saying all these things about staff insubordination. I couldn't believe it because I thought, they'd be fired if they were saying this so openly. So I started calling around myself, and they very much were saying this.
See, I knew
So I'm not an expert on FSA, but my friends are.
Rick Stover told me that Josh watches me.
He does. He had told me he watches you as well.
Rick Stover watches me. Josh Smith watches me. And, I did a video right after the June 17th memo from the BOP.
Yep.
And I used Hit 'Em Up by Tupac with just comment after comment after comment from different case managers and all this kind of stuff across the country. Beaumont says, F you, Josh.
That's right.
And, Loretto says, go back to West Virginia, Billy Marshall, and all this kind of stuff. And we talked about this just a second ago. They can get away with that because until they get more people, they're almost irreplaceable.
That's right. It's really hard to get fired from the BOP, and that is something that we did talk about because when he asked about cooperating staff sources, he was asking if these are past staff or current staff. And I did make a comment that I had realized it was very hard to get fired from the BOP. So the ones that are and are whistleblowing, they're a little crazy. Because it's really hard to get fired from the BOP.
I did a video.
Most of my accurate whistleblowers are currently employed staff.
I did
a
video.
Lot less emotional. They're not trying to get their lick back. They're trying to really just get exposure.
I did a video not too long ago where I said that a staff member would have to go to D.C., go to the office that you went to, and shit on Billy Marshall's desk for them to get fired.
And even at that, he's still going to have to go to internal affairs and everything.
They're going to have to run a report. So,
But he did state that because they can get more he is ready to fire people. Yeah, and he has.
They have been firing people.
He has.
You guys didn't talk about any specific people, did you?
We did not. But we did acknowledge some specific situations.
Did y'all talk about Montgomery?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nope.
What else did y'all talk about?
Oh, it was was 45 minutes. It was a lot, but it was a little. I mean, again, he humanized himself to me somewhat. He did state that he was going to get me direct contact going forward, and that he's, going to be watching what we're doing, keep doing what we're doing, and he's going to keep helping us how he has in the past with these individual advocacy situations. He wants us to do more individualized advocacies.
Oh, and they just need to know. And I think that Josh reaching out to you, and there's a couple other organizations that do what you do, but I think you guys were the first to go meet with them. What's going on out there?
People are just here, probably.
Oh, you're gonna have to edit that part out. Mm-hmm. I believe that, Josh reaching out to you and working with you and having you over there first, is symbolic of the impact that the Loved Ones Coalition is making. I would highly encourage anybody to reach out to you, because we've talked about this before, Chrissy, but I care about what's going on in the prisons. I want to I want to get the news out there and the voice out there. But we help people get their FSA. We help people get their SAA. We help the people get out of prison. We help the people get within 500 miles from home. We help people get off supervised release. That's what we do. When you have a
incredible work,
continued ignoring of medical issues, you have continued cold food, continuous lockdowns. When you have things about conditions of prisons, that's what you guys do.
That's right.
And that's why people need to join the Loved Ones Coalition on Facebook and on TikTok and subscribe to what you're doing, so that they can submit information to your crew, and then it can get into the weekly report. And that weekly report, who gets that report?
So the BOP gets it. Almost everybody in the BOP, internal affairs support gets it. Deputy directors get it, and the director gets it. And then I send it out to senators, state reps, Congress. They've been requesting it. And then also like ProPublica, the Marshall Project, things like that have requested our reports weekly.
And I don't know if you saw it, but ProPublica just did did a piece on the BOP just the other day that said the same thing that I just said. And yet, when you have TSA giving out $10,000 bonuses and you don't risk your life every day going to the airport, you might as well go do your 8 hours at the TSA rather than the federal prison system.
That's what I would do.
Did you feel like when you walked out of that meeting that you were heard?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I went in, fuck the feds, you're a fed, I'm going to expose you, to, oh my God, he really does know these cases. He's right. Because I was challenging him. I came in very much, why now? You haven't, nothing's been done.
And you're a firecracker too. You probably came in like, fuck you, Josh Smith. I'm going to... And then he said, okay. But yep. He knew... He either
knew.
Did really good research or he knew what was going on.
He did. He did really good research. He knew what was going on. He also knew that I have trauma for being a prison wife, as his wife does. He understood. He told me, I can see through the cussing and the emotions. I understand you're credible. You have good data. I want to fix things. We can't fix things if nobody's reporting it. And
did he talk to you at all about his experience as an inmate? Did he deal with any of this stuff?
He said that he knows everything I said to be true because he was an inmate. However, he had not talked about the conditions or anything. He stated he knows that it's falling apart now. He did not talk about when he was incarcerated, other than his raising children and marriage.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's just the thing. There's a lot of people that are starting to see some change happening. I think it starts at the top with Billy Marshall. And then with Josh and Rick. And I think, some people criticize that crew, but I think it's a perfect crew because
representation is very important.
Billy comes from a law enforcement background. He was a cop in West Virginia for 20 years before he ran the DOC there. And then you have Josh, who's been a prison advocate, almost like you, for 20 years since he got out of prison. And then you have Stover, who is a true blood through and through BOP person, started out on the walking the yard like every other officer. He's been the warden at some really big places. I know at one point he was the warden at Danbury. And I think with the three of them, you have a triumvirate of people that can actually make some change rather than just glad handling.
I would agree with that statement. And going forward, it's still very much fuck the feds. However, we do have to do some political positioning if we want reform. We have to somewhat work together. Am I right?
Absolutely.
And so until he gives me a reason to not trust him, I'm going to continue to do my reports every week. I'm going to let people know we do individualized advocacy. And until he gives us a reason not to trust him, we're going to continue to do what we've been doing. And I do feel more comfortable doing individualized advocacy for people, because that was something that we feared before. If somebody gets hurt based on our advocacy, that would be horrible.
I have the feeling if you take it to Josh or the support
Right.
coordinator that you work with,
all the oversight on top of it, yeah, that's the whole point, is oversight. The more eyes on it, exposure forces accountability.
So where did you guys leave it? Is he going to follow up with you? Are you going to?
Yeah, so he got me my direct contact that I wanted. He did state he was going to do a video. It's the support coordinators are going to do a video. He asked what my concerns were and stated he was going to do the video. And again, got me
And he
that.
did it. I mean,
did it.
He went in the studio and did the video the very next day.
Very next day, and then I'm going to get some connections inside of there, and
they're calling you now. I mean, like
that's right.
You have
The
wardens calling.
assistant warden of Texarkana had reached out to me, which again I think that's positive. We
is
don't
very
have
positive.
a lot of reports from that facility.
No, Texarkana seems to be. I mean, I know they have a couple case managers with FSA issues, but Texarkana is not one that comes on my radar.
Which is incredible. You're reaching out. You're not even on my list. Let's keep it that way.
For us, I mean, we probably have a lot of the same ones, but for us, it's like it's Yazoo, Beaumont.
It's a lot of Mid-Atlantic, I would say, and then the Beaumonts, the Texas
Yazoo,
ones.
Beaumont, Fort Dix.
Oh yeah, Fort Dix. Yeah, Lee, McKean.
Yeah, McKean for sure.
McKean, McCreary.
Yep.
Thompson.
Thompson is at the top of the
I
list.
will say Thompson. He did ask me about that. Thompson has not had one extended lockdown more than a couple days since my loved one left in May, which they were having, as you know,
all the time.
Thompson
was locked down for months.
It was for months. That's what started the Loved Ones Coalition, was during these lockdowns. So that's positive. And then also, he said he's not with those extended lockdowns. That's not happening.
Yeah, it's not, and then
there's no more systemic, but he doesn't.
The
believe
thing
it's-
about another great advantage to Josh being a former inmate is that he knows that, and he can carry the message that a lot of people forget, especially new guards, new officers. They forget that the punishment is going to prison.
That's
is
right.
The segregation from society.
That's right. I never complain about that.
That's the punishment. The punishment is the segregation from society.
That's right.
Once you get there, if you maintain your behavior, if you don't act a fool, you shouldn't be bothered.
That's right.
So
what is it? You do the crime, you do the time.
You do the time, but you don't have to do all this extra shit. You
don't.
And your health.
You shouldn't also have to fight to get out. You shouldn't have to fight for food. You should have general toiletries. Toilet paper shortage should not be a thing.
Definitely not.
Definitely
so
not.
Overall, you feel that this was a very positive meeting.
I do, and I'm shocked. I didn't think it was going to be negative. It just did not go. I thought he was going to ask me to stop.
You did?
I thought he was going to ask me to stop. What can we do to get you quiet?
No, and he told you the opposite, right? He wants the Trump administration to hear all this shit.
Yeah, he does. He wants the public to know.
I see Josh Smith and Billy Marshall saying, "I want them to know what we're dealing with."
Yeah, no, he said keep them coming and make them harder. Come harder.
Well, so I want people to know where to go to join the Loved Ones Coalition. Where can they find you?
So we organize on Facebook. You can search Loved Ones Coalition. We have a website. It's lovedonescoalition.org. You can email us at info@lovedonescoalition.org, or you can follow us on TikTok at Loved Ones Coalition.
And it's the Loved Ones Coalition. This is Chrissy Amador. I'm Kyle from Federal Prison Tips, and we'll see you next time.